Hey guys, it's Matt, trying 1143. In today's video, we're going to be checking out this New York Central E7 ABBA diesel set from Lionel. So to keep the time down on this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the history that I usually talk about right now. I'm going to link that in the description of this video so you guys can check that out on your own time, and that way we can spend more time running the model and also taking a look at some of the detail. Alright, so if you wanted this train, you actually had to make 3 separate purchases to buy it. You would buy the 2 A units, and then you could buy any one of the B units. Now, we have the powered and the non-powered variety here, but they also made another one, the breakdown B unit, and that one's pretty neat because it features a sequence of a B unit having traction motor problems and not really running correctly, and it's really cool. You can hear the crew talk about, you know, what's going on and stuff like that. It's really pretty neat. So, you know, if you wanted to get that, you could get that too, but we have what we have here. So now we'll talk about some of the general info, and then we'll take a look at the set in a little detail. Alright, so some of the general info for this set is that all these units are around 16.5 inches long. The powered A unit, which is the one right up front here, that one has Rail Sounds 5 in it, and then 3 of the 4 units, the powered A, the powered B, and the non-powered A, all include TMCC command control in them. And it's a really fun set to run. It requires a minimum of 036 curves to operate, so it's pretty friendly to small layouts, and it's just an amazing set. So what we'll do is we'll look at some details on the set and then run it a little later. Okay, so starting down here on the pilot, we can see it's very plain, but that was correct for some of the E7s from New York Central. Some of them were plain pilots without any front coupler like we see here, and then some of them did have front couplers on them. As for this unit here, this one obviously does not have a front coupler on it, and like I said, some do, some don't. The real version of this one, I believe, didn't, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, I really like it, and it really caught me by surprise when I took this thing out of the box, because I was expecting a front coupler, and there isn't one. But it just looks really cool and kind of adds a little bit of character to this set. Moving up some more, we have the very nicely done New York Central logo. We have 2 grab irons on either side, and then we have a door here. We also have the start of the lightning stripe scheme, and that runs all the way down the side of the engine. We'll get a better look at that in a minute. We have an operating headlight right here. We have lighted number boards, and then we have these class lights. Now, these don't light up, they just kind of get lit by all the other lights around the engine, but they look pretty good, and that little bit of light that shines on them actually makes them look really neat. Up on top of the cab here, we have these 2 windshield wipers. These are on either side of the windows, and then I don't know how well you guys can see inside, but inside we do have 2 hand-painted crew figures. Coming along the side of the model here, we have the little F for front. We have the builder's plate right here. Then we have some steps that lead up to this door. The door does open, as you guys can see, and it's on a spring, so it'll snap back shut. We have these 2 little grab irons next to the door. We have this screen. The screen is molded into the plastic body, but it still looks really cool. And then we have these very nicely done truck side frames. Moving down the sides some more, we have probably my favorite spot on the model, which is this side area here. It looks really neat. We have the see-through screen right here, and then we have these screens here. Now these are see-through as well, and one of the cool things is that if you look inside, you can actually see some of the wiring in the engine, which is pretty neat, at least in my opinion anyway. And then we have the New York Central logo, as you guys can see right there. Moving down a little bit more, we have the road number 4009. We have a step with a ladder underneath, and then we have a opening door again with the spring, 2 grab irons, and then we have the very nicely done fuel tank with some separately painted items, and then we have some warning placards down here. Finally, towards the rear of the unit here, we have Central, part of New York Central, of course. We have another see-through screen, some more porthole work over here. We have some more of the lightning stripe paint, which looks awesome. Then we have the truck frame, which looks really good. On the back, we have these two grab irons and the step. We have a dummy coupler here, and the reason as to why it's non-functioning is because it's only used to connect the units together, and you don't need a operating coupler here. It's very pointless. Now when we get to the powered B unit, it does have an operating coupler in the back, and I'll explain about that when we get to that unit. Right here we have a plastic diaphragm. It looks really good, and then you can't see it very well from this angle, but the door behind here actually opens, which is pretty cool. Taking a look at the top, we have two air horns. We have a panel with some lift rings on it, and then we have the start of the smoke exhaust. Okay, so now on the E7s there's two sets of 4 smoke stacks here, and then we also have this see-through screen next to them. Now this does contain an operating smoke unit in it, although to fill it you don't pour the fluid down the stacks. No, you take this little piece, this little hatch, you gotta turn this little thing, and then this is where you put the fluid, and as you guys can see, the panel has a little turn device, and then we have some lift rings on it, and that's where you add the smoke fluid there, and then you turn it back when you're done, like that. Coming down some more, we have the same thing as to what you guys just saw. Now this set of smoke units does smoke as well, so we have 8 different sets of smoke shooting out, which is pretty cool. Now I haven't used the smoke unit on this engine yet, so if any of you guys have used the smoke units on E7s, I'd like to know how well they work. So if you guys can do that, that'd be great. Finally, the last thing we have up here is this rear panel with some very nicely done detailing on it, and this comes off as well. Here we go. And it has the volume control in there, and also the battery port, and it just goes back on when you're done, like that. Pretty cool. Next up in the set, we have one of the B units. Now this is the powered B unit. Let's take a look at it. Not going crazy with showing you guys all the details on this thing, because it's basically the same as the A unit, although we have no cap on this engine. But in any case, we have the diaphragm here with the door that opens up. We have the non-functioning coupler. This side has a non-functioning coupler, the other side has a functioning coupler, and we'll talk about that in a second here. We have the grab irons and a step, the little F for front, and then we have the very nicely done truck side frames. Along the side, it's basically the same thing as the powered A. We have the see-through screens with the portholes under here, and you can see some of the wiring inside the engine, which again is really neat. I find that pretty cool. And then we have the New York Central name up on top there. Moving down, we have the door with the ladder, the step, and the 2 grab irons. We have the road number of the B unit, the little placards down here, and the fuel tank with the separately painted items on it. Moving down some more, we have the rest of the New York Central name right there. We have the same see-through screens with the see-through portholes, the nicely done truck side frames, and then we have the grab irons with the step. Finally, on the back, we have the diaphragm piece here, we have the opening door in here, and then we have the coupler. Now this side does include an operating coupler. As to why, I have no idea. It's on every single one of Lionel's B units. Now they're making it with the non-powered B units now are coming with smoke and couplers, which I'm fine with the smoke. I don't understand one bit as to why Lionel includes couplers on these B units. Now for this specific set here, I'm actually kind of okay with it, because I've seen pictures of the real E7s running ABBA, so realistically you could throw this thing at the end and have this coupler be the rear coupler of the set. But realistically, besides this little time, there really is no reason to have an operating coupler on the rear of a B unit. So if any of you guys know why it's on there, let me know if any of you guys do know. Now if it comes open, the easiest thing I would do is either hot glue the coupler shut, or do something to keep it shut, or replace it with like a standard steam engine coupler or something like that. I don't know, but whatever you would do, if it continues to pop, just do something about it. I've replaced the coupler with a steam engine coupler and it's fine. So, but that's that with this. So now we'll quickly look at the dummy A unit. Alright, so here's a look at the dummy A unit. Now I'm not going to go through any of the details because it's the same thing. The only difference is on this one here we have the front coupler. Now when you run this engine, obviously it's the rear unit in the set, so you would program it as the rear unit in the lash up. That way the front coupler here will function as the rear coupler on the remote when you press the button, and also the rear headlight will come on when you reverse the train. So that's basically that. All the lights are the same, the smoke is the same. The only difference is that this engine does not have any motors, as you guys can see, and it also doesn't have any sounds. But I do know of people who have added sounds to the rear A units and also B units and such. So if you want info on that, I would recommend checking the OGR forum or something like that if you really wanted to do it. But that's that. So now what we'll do is we'll get this set going and give a listen to some of the sounds. Alright, so now we're ready to take this set for a spin around the layout here. Real quick before we do, I'll give you guys my favorite feature. My favorite feature on this one is the horn. It's got a really cool sound to the horn, and it's really nice. Now, as far as programming the set goes, the easiest thing to do is to assign all 3 units a different ID number and throw them into a lash up on the remote. That way all the lights will work correctly, and also the rear coupler on the B unit will be deactivated, which is a big deal, especially when you're running the ABBA or a BBA setup. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and fire the setup here. Alright, so there we're all fired up. Here's the horn. Here's the bell. Here's the RPM level sounds. There we go. And finally, here's everybody's favorite crew talk sounds.
NYC 4009, requesting departure clearance. Can I roll? Over. Standby 4009. Over. Roger that. Standing by. Out. Standby 4009. There is track work in progress. Over. Copy, dispatch. We'll be waiting for your call. Out. 4009 calling. Requesting departure clearance. Can I roll? Over. 4009, you may depart. Over. Thank you, sir. We're cleared outbound. Out.
And here's one more.
4009, you may depart. Over. Thank you, sir. We've got clearance. Out.
Okay, so now that you've heard all these sounds, we can go ahead and run the models here. Now, behind the ABBA, I have a set of 10 New York Central passenger cars made from MTH. And as you guys know from the history, if you guys have checked it out, that the real E7s were used after the J3A Hudsons to pull the Empire State Express. So that's why I have these cars with the engines today. So let's go ahead and get this train running here.
4009, you are good to go. Over. Thanks, buddy. We've got clearance. Out. 4009 calling. Train is underway. Over. Roger that. Out.
guys, so that wraps it up for this review. As you guys can see, this set is very, very large and very, very awesome. This set is just a ton of fun and I really, really enjoy it. If you're interested in purchasing this set, I'll link all the product pages for all these units in the video description, so you guys can check all that out on your own time. If you decide to find one of these, go ahead. It's a beautiful set and you'll really, really enjoy it. So until the next one, I'm Matt, channel 943. You guys have a great one. Catch you later.